People often say that only when life and death separate us do we discover who truly loves us. But maybe that's a lie. Death doesn't always prove anything. Sometimes, it simply tears the masks off people's faces. Today, I want to tell you a heartbreaking story about the final days beside a hospital bed, a place filled with physical pain, silent suffering, and the bitter disappointment of family. When the doctor told Ethan Brooks that his father wouldn't survive, he didn't feel fear. He felt anger. Because Ethan knew that together with his father's fading breath, something uglier was about to collapse as well, the fake image of a united family. On the first day Ethan's father was admitted to the hospital, everyone looked like saints. Tight hugs. Trembling voices. Promises full of emotion. "Dad, don't worry. We won't leave you alone. We're family." Family. Such a powerful word, spoken by such empty mouths. By the third day, when the doctors stopped speaking in comforting circles, and the smell of death slowly began filling the hospital room, the hallway became emptier and emptier. Cowardice revealed itself one person at a time, like rats fleeing from a sinking ship. One said work was too busy. Another claimed the children needed attention. Someone else wiped away fake tears and whispered, "I'm too weak for this. I can't bear seeing Dad like that." Ethan sat beside his father as the old man slowly withered away day after day, and he realized something painfully bitter. Their devotion only existed during office hours. He stayed. He stayed with his father's cold skin. With the endless silence. With the smell of antiseptic that clung to his soul. Weeks passed. The family group chat remained active every single day. "How's Dad today? Call us immediately if anything changes." But not one person ever said, "Get some rest. I'll take over tonight." Because asking questions costs nothing. But staying at the hospital and caring for the dying demands a price. One afternoon, Ethan's father slowly opened his eyes and weakly asked about the others. Something shattered inside Ethan's chest. Something that would never heal again. He lied to his father. He said they had just visited. He said they loved him deeply and were waiting outside the hallway all the time. His father smiled. A peaceful smile from a man who believed he hadn't been abandoned. Then he whispered, "Thank you." Those two words haunted Ethan forever. Because they weren't meant for him. They were meant for all of them. That afternoon, his father talked more than usual. He even laughed. It was the final flicker before the candle went out. His final attempt to say goodbye without leaving Ethan drowning in sorrow. A few hours later, his father's hand became cold and motionless inside his. Ethan didn't cry when his father took his final breath. He cried when he realized that the last thing his father carried with him into the next world, was a lie. A lie so he wouldn't have to die feeling completely alone. And then, as expected, everyone suddenly appeared. White funeral clothes. Funeral headbands. Loud crying. Screaming grief. Voices that had never once trembled while his father was still alive and breathing. Neighbors whispered behind Ethan's back. "Look at him, not even a single tear." Of course he didn't cry. He had already been bleeding silently for a very long time. The very next day, while the incense sticks were still burning, they stopped saying, "Dad was such a great man." And immediately began discussing. What are we doing with the house? Who has the land documents? At that exact moment, Ethan understood one of the ugliest truths about human nature. Some people are too cowardly to face a dying parent. But strangely talented when it comes to reading wills and dividing property. Ethan took nothing they fought over. He kept only one thing for himself. The peaceful look in his father's eyes during his final moments. He hoped that someday those who ran away from the hospital back then would finally understand this. A will may be signed with ink. But the sentence of regret is permanently carved into the conscience. My friend, the philosophy of awakening embraces those who silently carry responsibility alone. If you didn't cry loudly at the funeral, it doesn't mean you were heartless. It means your tears had already dried up during the sleepless nights spent caring for the sick. Sometimes, the final piece of the dying is bought with silent sacrifice, and one courageous lie told by the person who stayed behind. Let others fight over material things. The judgment of conscience, the law of karma, and the justice of heaven, will always find their own way.